In the wake of everything that happened during January 6th, Donald Trump trying to overturn the lawful election results and spreading a lie that led to people storming the Capitol, and of course, all of the repercussions of that, many people, especially on the left, but you would hope everyone across the country would share this sentiment, is really curious if the things that Trump did violated the law, which I believe they did. I do not believe it is lawful for a president to try to subvert the will of the people, stay in power regardless of the election results or against the election results. I don't think that's something that is lawful or intended in the Constitution, etc. So, with that being said, if you believe that he violated the law, the next big question is, will the DOJ prosecute him? There's a few different criminal investigations going on, and so people are looking towards the DOJ to federally prosecute him, but people are also keeping their eye on the Georgia investigation centered around that call he had where he asked for 11,000 votes. Come on, give me 11,000 votes. But because the DOJ is being looked at, obviously Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, is kind of front and center. And for a long time, just based on his public comments on this, it seemed like there wasn't much urgency. Now, with investigations such as these, of course, it's going to be done in private. And I actually am not someone who's like, oh, Merrick Garland sucks, he's not doing anything, because we don't know. Now, it's kind of a tough situation to be in, because if we get multiple months down the line and still don't see anything, yes, Merrick Garland is going to be someone we need to blame for that, but it all could be happening right now just behind closed doors. Obviously, why would he come out and give any specifics? But we did recently see in a CNN interview the most kind of obvious hint towards that being the direction that the DOJ is headed towards from Merrick Garland himself that I've seen. Maybe he's said similar comments in the past. I just haven't seen them. This was a pretty obvious nod to the fact that he will or is going after Donald Trump and does think there's evidence for it. So we'll see. Obviously, he still stayed kind of vague with his language, but we'll watch, and you guys can, of course, let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll discuss afterwards.
Do justice without fear or favor. We intend to hold anyone who was criminally responsible for events surrounding January 6th for any attempt to interfere with the lawful transfer of power from one administration to another accountable. That's what we do.
That line was what really perked my ears up. He says, anyone who interfered in the lawful, peaceful transition of power from one administration to another. That's more than just saying anyone who caused violence on January 6th, anyone who, all these things that could apply to other people. The first person that's going to come to your mind when you think who was trying to interfere with a lawful transition of power from one administration to another, Donald Trump. So the fact that he threw that in there did, to me, make it clear that he was indicating Trump is the person he's alluding to.
We don't pay any attention to other issues with respect to that.
So if Donald Trump were to become a candidate for president again, that would not change your schedule or how you move forward or don't move forward?
Before we let him answer this, the reason he's asking that is there's been reporting coming out recently that Donald Trump is wanting to announce his candidacy for president in 2024 sooner rather than later, so that these criminal investigations can't land on him. He thinks he'll have kind of a shield around him if he's running for president, because people will be afraid to try to prosecute a presidential candidate. And so it's interesting that Lawrence O'Donnell's asking this, and also interesting how Merrick Garland responds.
Say again that we will hold accountable anyone who was criminally responsible for attempting to interfere with the legitimate, lawful transfer of power from one administration to the next.
So he sticks with what he previously said. Again, using that phrase, the lawful transition of power from one administration to another, and the interference with that is interesting, because that's really the role that Trump played. I think there's an argument to be made about, could you actually pin on him the riling up of the crowd to go to the Capitol? Was it really his intention that they stormed the Capitol, or was it just a big protest he wanted? I think that would be really hard to prove in court. But is it hard to prove in court that he was trying to interfere with the lawful transition of power from one administration to the next? No, that would be very easy to prove. He explicitly said things to that effect out in the open, that he was not going to respect that transition of power, that his intention was to stay in power and keep his administration as the administration in the White House, even though that was not a reflection of the election results that were proven time and time again to be free and fair and not have anywhere enough fraud to affect the election at all. So fascinating stuff. I am curious to see if Merrick Garland keeps pushing like this. I don't think he needs to talk publicly, just do it all behind closed doors, but then present us with a really good outcome. And of course, by good, I just mean a justice-based outcome that is equivalent to whatever laws you can prove that Trump violated. And I do think in a democracy, obviously everyone screams it's a republic. I hear that so often. Yes, a democratic republic. So a government that's supposed to have a democratic representation. You should not have a situation where a president, the top person in power, can attempt to stay in power even whenever the election went the opposite way and not be held accountable for it. You cannot have that be allowed in a democratic society where the most powerful person does not respect the very democracy they're representing. So interesting stuff, and we will continue to follow it very closely.